Welcome to Apollo's Temple. It's time to slay. So today we're talking about a second civil war. Could it happen? It already did. Yeah. The first Civil War was actually the Seminole War, aka the Gullah War, where black people actually freed themselves from the 1830s to the 1850s. Ironically, this is the same time America signed the Indian Removal Act. But a little bit about this. This is actually what caused Harriet Tubman to even do the Underground Railroad because she heard of the great success of the Seminole Wars. Um, so this was actually the first Civil War because blacks were free in Florida way before slavery had even freaking started in America. So now you have that into play. After this guerrilla warfare, you have the Civil War that actually popped off, which would be the second Civil War, because you had this great number of blacks who just literally kicked all of the white man's remaining army's ass and put the American military in debt because they had to lose. They used their military's army, navy, and marines to try to fight the Seminoles and still got their ass kicked. So after that, you have the question was, what do we do with these black people? Do we put them into, you know, put them on concentration camps, put them back into slavery, South, or do you have let's just give them jobs because they already created the wrench and all of these things, the stoplights later on, the automobile later on, these things were becoming prevalent amongst black creation. So America needed this. So the Civil War is fought on the Industrial Revolution, the state of black mentality. Well, we're going to let it elevate or what we going to keep as slaves. So with that being said, there was already a civil war. And you ever heard of the Tennessee Volunteers? The football team. They actually 10,000 soldiers volunteered and died during the Seminole Wars from Tennessee. So that's something to be remembered. But we also got to continue. Now, if there ever was a third civil war with this Trump shit, it would go down the first few ways because you have to look at it like this. Trump has his voters or whatever. One third of the military are Trump supporters, so they're not going to fight each other. But there are more gang members in America than there are American military members. So y'all also have to take into account people that's like me that's not affiliated with no gang, but I might sympathize for a Crip and Blood tying flag with some Mexicans type shit just because you know what I'm saying. Then America has made its own enemies within its borders. You have the black community within itself. You have, and we own black community own America's murder rate. You know what I'm saying? You look at that, we own the murder rate. We are more likely to have a dominant advantage. And then on top of that, America would have to fight within itself, within its own white community, as well as pressure from the black community and Mexicans and other Native American communities that exist today. Um, American Civil War would be the worst thing America wants. And to avoid this, all we have to do is we're going to have a separation of America, but continue a United States, House of States, for example, in Nigeria. If America were to have a black state, or a few states of the South, since we are already here, white people cannot reproduce anymore, damn near, and then they are dying from the sun's radiation and heat. They can move up north. We stay down south, and if we had our own nation as black people, we could trade with America and other border states around the American continent, which would increase ally potential to this American continent, as well as trade and connect with other African countries that everybody in the world is trying to get their hands into. But literally, the only way to do it is through black people. So, this would be an evolution in consciousness for America and the world if black people were to have our own country. Latinos are black too, natives are black too, and we were able to even have a tribal system of government rise in America. There are a few things we could do to avoid a civil war. But if not, I just showed you that this would not end good for America.